Hello, everyone. My name is Edward Murray, and this is my PMA3 message in a bottle for some of those students that are about to get into some of the coding classes of the mobile development program. So, some advice I would give myself 48 months ago when I was getting into some of the coding classes would be when you first get into a class. I tend to get a little stressed. I look ahead at some of the work that goes into these classes, and at first it seems like a lot. You'll have a whole screen full of activities for 1 week, and you'll think to yourself, how is it possible for me to be able to get all these activities done? Especially for me, I work full time, usually from 9 in the morning to at least 6 at night. So when I get home, I don't have a whole lot of time to spend on activities. Don't get overwhelmed. It's really not as bad as it seems. And if you stress yourself out, it just makes it that much more difficult. So don't freak out. I promise you it's not as bad as it looks, and you'll be able to get through it. For managing your time, I would definitely suggest looking at the next week's activities as soon as possible. That way you can kind of see what all's entailed. Some weeks are definitely more complex than others and more time consuming than others. So definitely look ahead at your week to help plan out and see what you have to do, and definitely get started on your projects as soon as possible. That way if you run into something, you can email your teacher or ask for help from a fellow student early enough to where if you run into a problem, you can get a response in time to fix it before you have to turn in your project. And get started on your activities as soon as possible. That would be a really big thing. Plan to work on everything a couple hours a day at minimum. And if you have to do some projects on the weekend, definitely do that, because it'll make it a lot easier on yourself instead of staying up to the wee hours of the night trying to get everything done all at once. Some really good resources that will help out would definitely be lynda.com. You'll be hearing about this a lot in future classes. There's a lot of good videos on here that'll teach you some cool techniques with JavaScript and jQuery and everything programming. You kind of follow along the videos for your practice. And that's another thing I would definitely recommend, practicing as much as possible. Another great one is Stack Overflow. There's a lot of questions on here that people have asked before for coding. It may be something you ran into or something you have a question about. Check on here. You can kind of search all the questions that have been asked already. You might find the answer to something that you have a problem with. And then another great one is W3 Schools. There's a lot of tutorials on here about everything coding, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and even some other stuff that we don't really cover, PHP, MySQL, stuff like that. So definitely check these out if you ever want to learn more, and if you happen to have some spare time. And then Google's your big friend too. Don't be afraid to Google something. Don't be afraid to ask questions to your teacher. Even if you think it's a dumb question, definitely ask it. And don't be afraid to ask other students for help, because some of these guys have previous experience with development, and sometimes they can help you out in 5 minutes on something that would take you an hour to try and figure out. So good luck, everybody. I hope you enjoy the coding classes. Remember, don't get discouraged. Sometimes things look worse than they are. And good luck.